Alright, so this is going to be my Hyper Light Floss 6-inch acro frame build. Now, I am running 5-inch props on here, but just to give me more authority, I'm going to go with a 6-inch just to try it out. So, I may end up trying 6-inch props, but it's mainly going to be 5 inches. So this is what I've got done so far. Just kind of talk about what I have here. Right now I have the Suit DYS 2306 2500 kV motors on here. Got from Drone Drop, so going to try them out. The ESC, it is the Airbot Typhoon 32. 4-in-1, it's a 35 amp. This is the version 2.3. It's supposed to be good up for 6S. Now there's some things I really don't like about this 4-in-1 ESC. So I'm going to kind of try to show it on the camera. There's going to be some focusing in and out just so I can really show it to you. So I've got my, of course I've got my XT60 coming out here. It's not going to ride like that. It's going to ride like this, and then going to bring it in the battery with the battery sticking out the back and in. Just kind of using this TPU mount here to hold that out of the way. But just to kind of show you some things that I don't like about it. I really don't like this pad here sticking out, but I think that's on some of the other ESCs. It's got that extra pad there. But this is the thing here. ESCs can only be only one side has pads. So if you rip a pad off, you're kind of out of luck. The other thing I don't like about it, and I'm going to try to show it, because of these capacitors, or these little FETs here, whatever you call them, you can't put a screw in there, or it'll be on top of the that. Let's show it to you here. All right, you see this little thing right here? It's a little PCB that you have to put on there to kind of raise it up enough to when you put the screw down, it's not screwing down on top of the component there. So that's kind of not very good. You also cannot turn this upside down. I mean, I guess you can. It makes it a little bit more difficult to solder onto it, but if you want your solder pads for your motor wires on the top, then of course you can't turn it upside down. But these little pad things here bite. Now on the bottom, let's see if I can't get it in shot. On the bottom, you can get it low if you wanted to. The only problem is it's more than one nylon nut, and I've got kind of like a soft mount up under it just to raise it up a hair. And the reason why you can't do it all that low with just one nut, one nylon nut, is because of the ESC 4-in-1 connector. Let's see if I can focus a little bit better on this here. I think that's the best as you're going to get. But so this one right here, I'm not quite sure what this little piece is here, but this right here is your 4-in-1 connector that's on the bottom. Well, just one nylon nut is not big enough to keep that off of the frame. So yeah, I had to raise it up even a little bit more just to get that connector off of the frame. So yeah, it's got two different things with this 4-in-1 ESC that makes it a little bit difficult. I also don't like 4-in-1 ESCs that now some are more than others. This one's not that bad, but I like for my I don't like the ESC to extend out. I like it to be a straight 30 by 30 stack. but so it does make it a little bit more difficult to build it too and to turn it around. I had thought about turning this long ways, but I really don't have the room up here when I start putting components. So yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping it flies pretty good. I'm hoping, you know, I'm willing to. This is a $50 ESC where I bought it at, so that is another reason why I got this one. I heard that it doesn't really have a big noise problem, and we'll figure that out here a little bit later. But let's see. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about it. So it does have some issues. I think I would rather pay. That Acon ESC is really nice. So I think I would have rather paid the extra $16 to get that. I don't know, $16 is a lot if this is a good ESC. I may be willing to deal with the issues, but we'll see. But so next on to the next part. Right, so I've got my capacitor in here. I did a video, a previous video that showed you how I made up this capacitor, but so I have ran the wire up under because I really don't have room in the back, because I may have to put my BTX there. Yeah, because this is going to be a very short stack. I've never done this tight of a build. It really all depends on how the flight controller fits on there, but most likely I'll have to put the BTX back here. But run the capacitor wire, because I put the capacitor in front, and then run that wire under the back to come to under the bottom of the ESC in order to get to the power wires. So yeah, probably not optimal because you want this as close to the battery lead as possible, but kind of got to go with what I've got to work with. And this ESC probably don't even need this capacitor, the way I hear that the Typhoon 32, you know, that it's pretty noise free. But I want to go ahead and put the capacitor on there just to kind of protect my components from voltage spikes. But yeah, I haven't tied it in yet because I want to be able to move it around to get to my 4-in-1 ESC plug. So a quick look at where I'm at right now. Got the FC installed, which is the Helio Spring all-in-one from the drone drop box. And so you do have to run your signal wires out to each edge, and I've connected to a 4-in-1 ESC. Did have to remap the wires on the ESC plug for sure. They were all out of whack. Let's see here, just kind of show it to you. So this wire right here that's hanging out, that's going to be my current sensor, or not current sensor, but ESC telemetry wire. And I'm going to bring that over here to one of these UARTs over here. But how I've got the 4-in-1 ESC wired up in here, I've got my motor wires right here going from here up under to the back two motors, then to the front two motors, and then I have the power, the VCC, which is full battery voltage from the ESC to the main lead, and then of course the ground from there to the main lead. I had to kind of make my own. I had to solder in one end of the 4-in-1 plug. Now I can say that having a 4-in-1 plug on your flight controller does make the 4-in-1 ESCs a lot easier. But you know, didn't have that flight controller, so I won't be using this. I also got the BTX mounted back here in the back with some electrical tape and some foam tape up under it to keep it from shorting out. This is the Tramp BTX, and then I had to change out my antenna connector here for an L-shaped one to be able to fit back here in the back. So yeah, this is definitely going to be a tight build. I'm probably going to put the I'm working on getting my CrossFile module put on there. Probably will end up mounting it back here on top of the VTX here, because I think it would make things a little bit more difficult to mount it back here under the capacitor. Not 100% sure just yet. Fixing to kind of fill that out, but just wanted to kind of show you where I'm at this point in time with having the flight controller mounted and the VTX mounted. Did already check my motor directions. I did have some problems with the butterfly on here, which is what this flight controller runs. I believe you can put Betafly on it too, but I'm going to try out the butterfly. The latest versions, the motors didn't work at all. So I went down one version. I don't remember exactly the version that I have on here, but we'll go through that setup once I get it built. And but it didn't like it. Had to go back a version. And of course, then I could test my motor. So I've got my motors updated to BL Heli 32. It is going 32.6, which is the latest version that's out right now. And they definitely, for these low quality motors, they definitely do sound smooth. So, yeah, that's where I'm at in the build right now. I hope you can see everything that's on this build. Kind of look at the height of how close the flight controller is to the ESC there. Got her all together. Does look like a little hot mess, but hey, what do you do? That's the one thing that is bad about these HelioRC Spring boards. I mean, it's not actually bad, but you know, you have your 5-volt pads here. It seems like that a lot of the layout of the board is not really intuitive as far as keeping your wires kind of clean and neat, but this is how I end up getting it set up here. I've got my Crossfire telemetry hooked up here on it, TX and RX. That's number 5, and then on number I think this is 4 here I have my ESC telemetry right here. I've got my, that is the one thing good about the all-in-one though, you do have VCC plus and minus all around the board, so this may actually be a good board for LED lights, which I do plan on putting on here eventually, but because you've got a positive and a negative all around. But for one of the positive and negatives for the ESCs, I've got my VTX ran off of, and then I've got my 5-volt for my Crossfire receiver on the same that you would put your FreeSky in the ground there. And then I have right here I've got my that is going to be your VTX control right here, and then your video from your VTX, and then right over here is your video in and your video power. Now right here on this end, it turns out that that is VVAT voltage, so I had to run over my camera over here to the 5-volt, which I could have run it on full voltage, but I thought I would try what I would do normally is run the camera off of 5-volt and the VTX off of VCC. If I get video noise, and I'll move this from the 5-volt over here to see if that changes anything up. I do not have my camera ran off my VTX voltage or my 5-volt out on my VTX, because I never do that unless I have problems. I did end up putting my receiver, my Crossfire receiver, back here on top of the VTX. I also put my antennas between the bottom plate. Let's see if we can turn it over here. The bottom plate on this flight controller, I mean on the frame, in between, and it actually sandwiches it, if I can say that right between the two plates. It is tight, so I did have to lift that up and squeeze it in there, but I think overall it's going to do pretty good. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much how I have it built up. I don't know how it's going to fly. Never flew butterfly before, but let me get the top plate on it. I'm also going to try to do this right here, since I might have to slide my battery strap in and out. And I'm going to put this little plate to hold these wires down up here, so when I slide my battery strap in and out, it'll be a little bit easier. Of course, back here is going to be a little bit rougher, but that should be okay. But other than that, let's get the top plate on, get them all mounted up, and then I'll show you what she looks like. Right, so I ran into a little issue here from a little bit before this video. I could not get smart audio or tramp telemetry to work. I could not get failsafe to work. I did have ESC telemetry, and I did have my crossfire working, but after doing a little bit more research, looks like current sensing will need to be able to put over here on RX4, right next to the LED signal, and then you'll need to move crossfire to TX and RX3, and then put smart audio or tramp telemetry over here on TX5. And what's kind of baffling to me is the other from the Helio's website said that over here that was the VTX. It specifically says smart audio, so maybe you can only use Unify smart audio over here. Not 100% sure there, but I think you'll be pretty safe here if you just follow my the way I've got it. Current censoring from your ESC or ESC telemetry will go over here in RX4, and crossfire will go over here on RX and TX3, and then smart audio or tramp telemetry will go over here on the TX 5. Of course, if you have free sky, then you'll use over here, but yeah, just save yourself a little headache and use this here. I do know failsafe does not work when you have crossfire on RX5 and TX5, so move it over to RX3 and TX3 for crossfire. And yeah, I'm not going to repeat all my information, but I have got all of it to successfully work. In Goggle OSD can change VTX. I do have ESC RPM and temperature, and I do have my crossfire working, so follow that, I suppose, and hopefully you won't go through the headache I had to go through on that. So this is all of it put together. Got my RunChem 2 mount, my battery straps on here, and my props. Got everything installed in there. So just that is my build. It feels pretty heavy. You know, I'm hoping 250 max. We shall see here in just a second. So let's weigh her in. Set her to 0. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. This is all of weight with the battery and straps and props, everything. This is flying weight. Yes, well, I got under 640 or 650, so that's great. I probably could be at 600 if I took some 3D mounts off and stuff, but I just like a little bit of extra protection. I probably could save 20 grams, maybe 30 grams. So yeah, it's a little bit heavy. I would like it at the 6. Most of my other quads are 620, so for this being a 6-inch, I guess that's not too bad. So let's see, we've got 642, and let's go with the battery off. So depending on your battery, could vary a pretty good weight. And let's see here, we've got 451. 451. Alrighty, well, so I am going to go ahead and finish out this video and post it, and then I will be going through some my butterfly setup after in my next video. So thank you very, very much for watching. Hopefully this is somewhat helpful, at least for this flight controller. I found the pinout or the wiring diagram that should be self-explanatory. I'll put that, I'm going to have that in the video too, as you probably already seen. And well, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Make the ground shake.